Welcome to the Community Difference Plano, powered by the Difference Media LLC, and hosted by Jax Crider with Financial Mastery Simplified, Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Cindy Durance with Right at Home, In-Home Care and Assistance, Susanna Austin with K9 Resorts, Audra Hooper with Audra Hooper Integrated Health, and by Kirk Hodgson with Assured Partners. The Community Difference Plano was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals. So sit back and relax as our hosts, co-hosts, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being professional, along with the opportunity for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because a Community Difference Plano starts now.
Hey. Welcome to the Community Difference Plano, a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. This is episode 63 of the Plano Show, and I am your host, Jax Crider, and I am with Financial Mastery Simplified, or you might see me, say PBJ Mortgage as well. And so we have got, if you've never seen our show before, welcome. We have got an amazing show for you today, an amazing business topic of the month. We're going to talk about what's going on in Plano. If you ever watched the show, you know that I'm not hosting by myself. I've got a co-host as well. So, Lyndon, let's bring in Mr. Harvey Loosier.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show, Harvey.
How are you?
Good. And I got to tell you guys, Harvey Loosier is a cleaning expert by day. He is a roller skating legend by night. Just don't ask him to multitask. I don't know how that would go. But he once strutted into the wrong restroom, but always walks into content with the right heart. So that's the important part, right? As a founder of Twilight Cleaning, Harvey proves that the secret to content that gets results isn't polished, it's people. Get ready as he shows us how to care, how care converts faster than any call to action. Right, Harvey?
I love it. Absolutely.
And tell me, what are you excited about for the show today?
You know, when we're talking about content and just how to post, anything that has to do with social media right now, I think is huge. And so I'm here to not only help others, but to gather some insight myself. So I look forward to today's show. Absolutely.
I totally agree with you. And we have some amazing guests. And so let's talk a little bit about Dylan Labonte. I think I said that correctly. A real estate agent pro whose brain is a walking ESPN trivia feed. Just ask his wife. As an agent with Century 21, Judge Fite, Dylan knows showing up matters, but so does showing up online with content that connects. Today, he's here to drop real talk on building trust without faking it, and maybe tell us how to win the lockbox battle without breaking a sweat. Welcome, Dylan.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate it.
Did I butcher your name? Did I get it right?
No, you nailed it. You did well.
Okay. We had a discussion before the show about how the Texas people just can't understand exactly how to say his last name, but that's okay.
I've been asked that probably 100 times since I've been here. So it's no, you nailed it. You got it right.
That's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about what you're excited about for the show today.
Yeah, so just diving into content a little bit. If I can learn a few things, tips, tricks along the way, and provide some value for our guests here today and the audience, that's what I'm here for.
I love that. And then last but certainly not least, we need to meet Kathryn Ikle, a visionary matchmaker of people, ideas, and opportunities, not your dating life, guys, who once strutted out of a gala with a heel held together by borrowed tape and pure confidence. As the founder of Third Entity and Ikle Creative Designs, as well as working with Citibank, she knows that content isn't just about showing up, it's about showing up with alignment. Get ready as Kathryn reveals how bold ideas and brave messaging create results that actually stick. Welcome, Kathryn.
Thanks, Jax. Excited to be on.
So tell us a little bit about why you're excited to be on the show today.
I think Harvey and Dylan already said, just sharing ideas, learning a little bit from everybody, and just meeting new people. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's always a good opportunity to learn a little bit. I know that even though I do a lot of content every day, it doesn't necessarily mean I am the reigning expert on it. So I also am super excited to learn a little bit more, not only about our business topic of the month, but what's up next, of course, with the What's Up Plano segment, kind of see how we can be involved in our community. So I'm super excited about that. And we do have a very special guest coming on in that segment. Our relationship continues with the Plano Police Department. So stick around and take an opportunity to see what's going on in Plano, which is going to be up next.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Jax Crider with Financial Mastery Simplified, Susanna Austin with K9 Resorts, Audra Hooper with Audra Hooper Integrated Health, Cindy Durance with Right at Home, in-home care and assistance, and by Kirk Hodgson with Assured Partners. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready? Because it's time for
What's Up Plano?
All right. Well, we got to know what's going on in Plano. And as I alluded to prior to the break, we have a very special guest who's joining us from the Plano PD. So let's welcome in Sergeant Babb. Sergeant Babb, I should have found out some interesting things about you, so I could have introduced you a little bit more. But for those of you who have ever watched the show before, we've had a great relationship with the Plano PD, and we are so blessed that he continues to come on and give us insight into not only what's going on in Plano, but what's going on with the police department and the city. So thank you so much for coming, Sergeant Babb.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Hopefully sharing the other personalities of my unit is working out well too, because we got some great ones.
Yes, and we love that. We love that you send different. We can kind of get to know a little bit of all the faces of the Plano PD. So that's always a joy. So why don't you tell us, what's been going on in Plano? I know we just had an election, and so kind of let us know what's going on.
Yes. So on behalf of myself and the chief and everybody here, thank you so much for passing. I believe it was Props B and C, which were a new headquarters for us. That headquarters was built the year I was born, if that gives you any indication.
20 years ago or so, right?
It's something like that.
Okay, cool.
Might double that and add another half, but sure, yeah. So we're super grateful for the people of Plano that passed that, as well as the other proposition that will give us a new training facility, which is long overdue as well. So we're very excited moving forward on that. Last Saturday we had Asia Fest over in Haggard Park, so hopefully some of the folks that are seeing this stop by and talk to us and got some information from us on how we can help them with crime prevention measures. And moving forward, we already have the flyer up. We've got Officer Bianes, who's having a Guard Your Finances presentation on May 28th at Haggard Library. And that's going to be from 2, it starts at 2. So if you guys can get there and check that out, it's a great resource on how to prevent identity thefts, frauds, and scams. Again, you guys have seen him. He's a fantastic presenter. So if you have the ability to get out there, I would highly recommend that.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. And not only that, but I mean, man, I can tell you, Dylan and I can both attest that identity theft, especially in the real estate space, is a big deal. And so I'm glad that you guys are taking that extra effort to really alert people and what to look out for, because unfortunately, a lot of people just don't know.
Absolutely. My last assignment was actually, I supervised the fraud and forgery unit. So I got a firsthand look at it every single day when I opened my computer and saw the cases coming in.
Wow. Absolutely.
So then we have, at the end of the month on the 31st, we've got the Shelby Car Show. And that's going to be out on it's a Legacy address, but it's at Preston and Legacy. Okay. I believe it's a Third Coast Bank building. And if you've never been, this thing, I went for the first time last year, and this thing is awesome. There are hundreds of cars. If you're a car person, even if you're not, it's still a great way to come out and see a lot of the stuff. They've got a lot of vendors that come out as well. People that can build you miniature cars. So if you guys can come by and see us, and we are right at the entrance, so make sure to stop by and see us, because I will absolutely be at this show every year I can.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, a lot of car buffs, so that's a really fun thing. I'll have to let my operations manager know. He loves cars. Oh
yeah, hopefully he'll come by and see us. And then last night we graduated our CPA class 72, which our very own Diane Castle was in that class, and she received recognition. I wouldn't say it was awarded, because she killed the most cones in the during drive day, which was 10. You see her victims in front of her.
That's funny.
Completely unapologetic. So be sure to let her know about that next time you see her, because we told her that there would be recognition, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to be with us last night. But I told the people in attendance that I had good news and bad news. The bad news is that Diane couldn't be with us last night, but the good news is you didn't try to have to beat her out of the parking lot to make sure she didn't run over you.
Yeah, that's a good call. You guys didn't give her like a mini cone as like the prize?
Well, I've got something for her. I should have brought it in, but we do have some very miniature cones, and we stuff it into one of our foam cars and give it to them.
Perfect. Exactly. That seems perfect. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for kind of keeping us abreast of what's going on with Plano. We appreciate the PD so much, because they do protect us and keep us all safe. And you're also proving that it's pretty cool. It doesn't always have to have a bad rap on the police department, right?
Hey, it's not all traffic stops, I promise.
I was going to say, yeah, exactly. Nobody likes to see the flashing lights behind them for the traffic stops, even though maybe some of us deserve it. Let's be real here.
So thank you guys for having us on. It's always great to engage with the community. So that's why we're here.
Absolutely. And I think, Kathryn, you've got something going on that you'd like to highlight as well.
I do. Yes. So our Club of McKinney, we put on community events throughout the year. This is one of them. It's an evening event during the week. It's called Creative Connect and Talk. And we typically have different speakers that will come in. It's free. It's open to all ages. It is out in McKinney, and it's coming up this month on May 22nd. From 5:30 to 7. Gary Eisenstadt is a glass blower, and he has glass work all over different museums downtown. He has his own studio. So he's going to be doing a demo of glass blowing and talking about his process. So if you're into arts and culture and you want a community free event, then you are more than welcome to join us at that event.
That's awesome. Do they have to register at all for the event?
Great question. So you can get online on our Facebook page, and you can RSVP through the Facebook event and just kind of give us an idea that you're planning on coming, but no actual registration or fee is required.
Okay, that's awesome. That gives us some good heads up. And then I think, Harvey, you've got a couple of things that are going on.
I do. We're going to start off with the Chutes and Ladder 5K and 10K run. Now, I'm kind of curious here. Now, this is a run, jog, or walk to support our local first responders, and it's family friendly. But I'm kind of curious. Is this something that Sergeant Babb, are you planning on attending? Are you going to run at this thing, or do you kind of compete against one another when it comes to the police department and the fire association?
So we do have folks from the association. The association side takes care of that, but I know they do have folks out there for it. As far as running, I'm not a runner. If you see me in person, you will notice that very quickly. But yeah, we'll have folks out there. I'm not sure that the competitions, but I do think we have touch a truck and stuff like that in the parking lot there.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like for those of us that are even just want to be able to support the organizations such as the Plano Police and the Fire Association, you don't have to come to run. You can come and jog, walk. It is family friendly, but it includes finisher medals, tech shirts, and post race parties. So, come on out. This is at Red Tail Pavilion at 2801 East Spring Creek Parkway in Plano. That'll be Saturday, May 10th at 7:45 a.m. in the morning. So I did include a link there where you can go and sign up for this. So hopefully we can get that up on the Facebook page here. So moving on. So does everybody know what this coming Sunday is?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. That's right. So I'm here to remind you guys that it is Mother's Day Sunday. And so there's a great event going on. It's called Comedy Mom. And this is a Mother's Day extravaganza. You can treat your mom to a night of laughter with stellar lineups of mom comedians featured on Oprah, Comedy Central, and more. Enjoy dinner, drink, and plenty of fun at this 21 and above event. So the price on tickets for these are anywhere from $25 to $37. It's located at 7301 Lone Star Drive, Suite 110 in Plano, Texas. This is Mike Drop Comedy Plano. So that's going to be on Mother's Day at 6 p.m. So if you're looking for something to do a little different instead of just the traditional, hey, let me bring mom some flowers, take her out and make her laugh a little bit. So, and then
well, I was going to say there's some alcohol at the event too. I mean, that sounds like a win, right, Harvey?
Absolutely.
Mom might need a break.
Actually, you could probably send her by herself, right? She'd probably have a little bit more fun that way. Get the moms together and just send them on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that probably would work. I think that's probably what most moms want for Mother's Day is just some peace and quiet for a few hours. Maybe the ability to go to the bathroom by themselves and not have littles trying to join. I mean, I know that's something that I enjoy. Just like, wow, I get to use the restroom by myself. It's amazing.
That's so funny. And then last, I'll talk about the Collin County BDA. Our Collin County BDA this year, or this month, I'm sorry, will be at the NAC Theater located in Frisco. This is 11:30 to 1 p.m. It's located at 6711 Oak Street. And our speakers on the panel this month is going to be the chamber leaders. And they're going to be on to speak about how the chambers can actually help the local businesses and just kind of give some insight with that. So we invite you out to that. Again, that's the fourth Wednesday of this month from 11:30 p.m. at the NAC Theater. So, Jax, that's all
awesome. Yeah, well, and for those of you who don't know, if I know that Sergeant Bab, he has been to one of our BDA events, and it's a really awesome opportunity not only to just connect with other business owners, but basically go to a networking event that isn't costing you money, right? I mean, we all know that so often networking events, you feel like as a small business owner, you get nickel and dime to death. But our BDA is something that we do completely free of charge. So the only thing that we do require of you is to RSVP. So if you saw that QR code, and it definitely will be in all of our Facebook pages, and you can reach out to any of the hosts or co-hosts of the shows. We will be happy to connect you and make sure. So just please make sure you RSVP because we do only have so much space that we can kind of fit and accommodate everybody. And I'm going to talk about a couple of different events. So first off, I'm going to start. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Plano magazine, we actually had her on, Angie. And so she has given me a couple of events to kind of speak on. And so coming up this Saturday, May the 10th from 2 to 5 p.m., we've got the Mad Hatter Sip and Stroll. And so, of course, when you're thinking Mad Hatter, you're probably thinking more tea party. This is a little bit more adult. It is going to be wine, cocktails, and malt beverages. You could prefer to do the non-alcoholic version, but why would you want to do that? You'll get a souvenir teacup, and it's going to be in downtown Plano. You will go to different locations, and you'll get some beverages and just kind of be able to enjoy. So this is another good idea for mom. Maybe send her out with some of her friends. It's going to be quite a bit of fun. They're going to do it rain or shine, which I think the weather is supposed to hold this weekend. We'll see, right? We live in Texas, so you really never know. But yeah, so go out and see that. For those of you a little bit more like Lyndon and our Frisco host, Brian, if you're into golf, then we do have the Tim Brown Annual Golf Classic coming up. It's going to happen on Monday, May 12th. And it's going to be, people can check in as early as 7:30. I think they're officially starting around 9 a.m. And then it's going to go until around 3 p.m. They're going to basically finish with some lunch and some prizes. I believe they're doing a 4-person kind of scramble to do all that. There's going to be some like networking and some prizes, some great food. So if you want to go out and you want to support, or maybe you just love golf, this is a great opportunity. And it's going to be right there, like I said, at Glen Eagles Country Club here in Plano. And then last but not least, let's talk a little bit about Abracadoodle Summer Camp. So for those of you who don't know, we have an amazing co-host in Frisco by the name of Debbie Watson, and she runs a company called Abracadoodle. And Abracadoodle does art and stuff like that. This will be near and dear to Kathryn's heart, is that they do art for children, and they've got all kinds of art camps. So as summer is coming up, let's be real, we're all thinking about what are we going to do with our children, because now we're going to have them all the time. And so here's a great way to get them out of the house, support a local business, and really just expand, kind of their art. I know I have a little one. She absolutely loves art. She loves to draw and paint, right? Little kids are so just into all of those kind of things. And so this is a really great idea. There are multiple locations that they're going to be hosting these at. There is going to be, and you'll see the locations there at the bottom, the Colony Rec Center, the Elkhorn School, Lakefront Rec Center there in the town of Little Elm. We've got Stephen Terrell Rec Center in the city of Allen, and then the Fields Rec Center in the city of Garland. So kind of all over DFW, depending on where you are and which location might be a little bit more convenient for you, you can go ahead and register for those. You just need to scan that QR code and be able to do that. So that's pretty much what we've got for the What's Up Plano segment. Lots of great stuff happening in the city of Plano and surrounding areas always. It's just about getting involved and getting out there. If there's a thing you like to do, whether it be sports or art or getting involved with the community, right, and meeting the Plano PD, we've got something for you here in the Plano area. So make sure you are getting out and enjoying it before the weather gets so hot. It's miserable to be outside, right? Let's just be honest there. But I think that's pretty much going to put a bow in it. And on the next side of the other side of the commercial break, we are going to go ahead and talk about the business topic of the month. And so the business topic of the month this month is all about content and content creation. And so this is going to be an opportunity for a small business owner to really get a really good handle, right, on how do we create content? What are best practices for this? What does this look like, right? Because again, it's so, so important in our social media filled world, right? And so this is going to be a great opportunity to have a great discussion, and I can't wait for it. So Lyndon, go ahead and send us a commercial break, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side of this commercial break.
The Community Difference would like to thank each of the following partners for their continued support. At Fireboss Realty, we believe life is about relationships, and everything else is just details. Whether you're buying or selling, Scott and Amy Johnson are here to understand your family's unique needs and deliver expert guidance on the North Texas real estate market. With a reputation for integrity and personalized service, Fireboss Realty makes your home journey stress-free and successful. Ready to make your move? Visit firebossrealty.com and let's ignite your real estate dreams.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
Now back to the show.
All right. So welcome back. And this is where we're going to talk about a business topic of the month. Our aim, obviously, is to allow for businesses to succeed, right? And so this month's topic is going to be the secrets to creating content that gets results, right? So in this particular day and age, that content is something that you need to be doing as a small business owner. We want to get our message across. We want to make sure that we are facing up, right, as the thought leader of our business. And the whole thing is that a lot of times it gets ignored, and it's the thing of the talking, but a lot of times people never learn to make the content relevant. They never learn to make it relatable, results driven, etc. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. And Harvey, I'll kind of lead off with you. What do you think is probably one of the most important aspects when it comes to creating content?
Well, I think honestly, for me, to realize that the content isn't about you. I think that's the first and most important thing. I know early on for me, when I was starting out with Twilight, I would always just go in and post, look at this clean versus this clean, and not realizing that, that wasn't really creating any uptick for me. People didn't care. And so once I realized that I really needed to make it about them, what they wanted to hear, let's just put it that way. What do I say instead of what does someone else need to hear? And so once I grasped that and put that into transition into my networking, or not in my networking, into my social posting, I started changing it a little bit. So I would actually go into a facility and point out that maybe we missed the toilet paper that day, and instead of showing that, hey, this is how clean this was, I would actually show, well, how did we fix that? And so that become more of something that really just grabbed their attention, and it didn't make it necessarily about my business, but it was something that held their interest and they were interested in. And so it pointed out the pain point that they may be dealing with now. And so, and showed how we actually fixed it and made it a priority to make sure that it was fixed. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Kathryn, what do you think?
Yeah, I do agree. And I think it's important to be able to pivot when you are realizing that the content really isn't connecting with people, and trying to figure out something different. Can you communicate differently with people? And sometimes that's trial and error, so Harvey, I like that you tried different things, and I feel like we're constantly evolving as a society. So our content needs to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think I agree with you. I think that a lot of times we're just sticking with the same patterns, and growth is going to be a huge indicator, right? Like, and so yes, like how do you need to make sure to shift your mindset so that you're continuing to always create deeper and deeper content, allowing your customer to really connect with you and making sure that it's about them? Because I think a lot of business owners make the mistake of believing that it is about them and not about the person that you're actually trying to make the content for, right?
Right.
And the truth is that I mean, I don't know about you guys, but as a small business owner, I don't really care. I'm not making content just to like make content for myself, right? I'm not just making content so that somebody watches it and says, wow, look at Jax. Like she does a great job of making content. Like that's not the goal here, right? What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, so I think a lot of business owners, they just post, they, have the pressure to just post something, right? So they're just posting content to, out of obligation. So when you get, content's not about you, right? It's about the consumer. So whoever's, watching your content, right? So typically, people watching your content either have a problem or an issue that needs to be solved. So it's just trying to figure out what issues are arising in your kind of vertical, and to try to address those head on to make that consumer feel connected or kind of in their head, right? So that's kind of how I try to go along with my content, is just trying to be solve an issue that someone may have.
Well, and I don't know if you guys agree with me on this one, but I think that when I started putting myself in the mind of the viewer, right? And my only goal was to make that audience feel heard and understood, is when I really started digging into like their pain points, right? Like what, if I'm on the other side, what am I thinking about? And I think as business owners, especially when you get to a certain level of expertise, we sort of forget what that pain looks like because we're really far removed from the pain. And I know that for a while, at first I felt like I was just making content that was just answering surface level questions, but it really wasn't creating the level of engagement or getting people to really dive deep with me like I wanted them to, right? And then I realized that truthfully, in order to connect well with content, we need to be on a more emotional level, right? We need to be connecting with them on a pain point level.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of similarity, if you will, with networking. Obviously, when we're talking about posting and creating content, you want to know them. You want to know what's going on with them. You want to know that pain point. And it's the same thing when you're networking. The only way that you get to know that is through building that relationship with them. And this is different perspective than that. Outside of, meeting in a room or face to face, you're able to connect with them and build that relationship online through the Facebook post and Instagram or whatever social media platform that you're using. So,
right. And it's not really about the likes, right? Your content is trying to create conversations. The goal is to kind of develop more trust, right? For, when they have an issue arise, they want to go right to you because you're, addressing those questions head on.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's really easy to get caught up when you're first starting making content that, again, you don't really know like the direction to go, and you are just like making it to make it. But and you're like, oh, okay, somebody liked it. But then to your point, it's like, okay, great, but likes are not paying your bills. Like 8 million people. And let's be real here too. When you're first starting to make content, who's really liking your post? Your grandma, your mom. Yeah, your friend, your best friend, your
wife, your husband,
your kids.
Sure.
And I mean, I hope that you do a good enough job at whatever business you hold, that they want to do business with you without looking at your content and without diving deep with you and understanding, right? And so that is an excellent point, that you can't just have likes. You need more than that.
Yeah, I would also say that there are guidelines and best practices for how much content you need to make. But at the same time, you're also competing with so much content out there. Are you just boring people with more content? Or are you being really intentional about how much content you're putting out, and is it quality? So that to me is really important as well when you're creating content.
Oh, no, I totally agree with you. I think right now we're coming into a phase because there's so much content that can be created with AI, right?
Yes.
Like there's faceless channels, and a lot of them are actually being very successful, right? And so you just putting out more noise is not going to help you. It's not going to help your brand. I mean, Harvey knows that we've talked multiple different times about branding and creating raving fans or whatever. I mean, nobody is going to be a raving fan of yours if your content is just getting stuck out there to be stuck out there.
Right.
we're talking about likes and that really not paying the bill. How important is it to have a call to action with those posts?
Right. So, I mean, I use like a GPS for my post, right? So the three things are, what do I want to be known for? Secondly, who is it for? Thirdly, what do I want them to do next? Right. So at the end of the video, hey, maybe you plug in something. Hey, if this is an issue you're having, shoot me a DM, or here's my number, give me a call. A conversation's free at the end of the day. And like you said, there's a lot of information out there, and you can kind of get overconsumed by a lot of not the best information out there, and they're not the best content. So having a conversation and kind of just talking it out, that's kind of what you should be doing there at the end of that video or post or whatnot.
Well, and I think that the truth is, and I don't know if anybody else struggles with this, maybe it's just me, but there's so often that we feel a little bit like we're being salesy if we give any call to action, right? Because you can't see like how they're interacting, right? Like to your point, Harvey, yes, content is similar to networking in a way, but then like when you're networking, you're face to face with somebody, like you can see their reactions, if it's landing, if it's not landing, like you don't know. And so call to action is super important because it is going to carry you across that threshold, right? Of, okay, they're interacting with you online, and now we're trying to move them into hopefully becoming part of your revenue, right? But the truth is that a lot of us feel like creating a call to action is a hard thing to do. What do you guys think about that?
I would say for me, if I'm looking at content that other people are creating, a lot of times I want to know what they want me to do. And then I'll decide whether I want to do it. But I like to be prompted within content, like register for this or sign up for that, because it's very clear to me what it is and what I need to do. So I do try to do that within my content if it's relevant. If not, I'd also make content that's more, it's inspirational for people to think about, not necessarily take an action on.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good point. I think a lot of times as small business owners, especially, we get caught up a little bit in our own head that we are going to be salesy. But to your point, people do want to know, like, what is the next step? Okay, so you gave me this great deep insight. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what? What does that mean? What does that look like, right?
And people value their time. So, just cut to the chase, tell me what you want, and let's go,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, Harvey, what do you think?
When I'm thinking about this conversation, one of the biggest things that comes to me, and we talked about it a little bit, there's a lot of content out there. And so how can we be competitive with everything that comes through on social media? A lot of times we think that putting out a funny post will gain the traction or doing something, different or something in that regard. And as a business owner, I scratch my head on that and wonder, is that really going to get the turns that I want? Is that going to gain traction? Is it going to get me business if someone just simply likes my a reel or post because it's funny? And so there's a lot of competition out there. So how do you make yourself stand out above everybody else when a lot of people are just simply getting on Facebook or Instagram for the entertainment value? And here we are trying to stick in something in there, if you will, that could be salesy, but we have to be creative in the aspect that it's not salesy, but it's something that they need, that they want, and they just don't know they need it or want it yet. So how do we do that?
Yeah, so I'll kind of jump right into this. So I think being relatable is huge in content creation, just because you want to make that connection with that that person consuming your content, right? But at the same time, in my industry, not everyone that sees my posts on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, whatever, is going to be buying a house that day, right? So
For sure.
It's just building that trust first, and then being relatable, right? I want to be approachable. So when they do, or, when they're in the, time frame of buying or selling a house, possibly I can throw my hat in the ring with them. So I always think being relatable is key in content creation.
Totally agree. I would add to that, for me, it's authenticity. Is your content smoke and mirrors, or are you a real person behind it that can actually have a coffee with someone and have a real discussion? So to me, I personally am drawn to content creators, whether it's a business or an individual, where I'm seeing an authentic, this represents their personality, who they are, and what they stand for. That's what I'm looking for. So that's what I want to channel through my content.
No, I don't disagree. I think that this, think about how popular in the last bit of time influencers have become. And why is that? It's due to authenticity, right? Like they're helping promote brands and things of that kind. Why? Because there is something about them that is so authentic. And as business owners, I think we get so caught up, like we want those conversions, but what we don't think about is in order to get the conversions, we have to dig deep. We have to see the pain. We have to be authentic. We have to be relatable. Like we have to face up like we are in their living room or right there sitting beside them, having a conversation, making ourselves and our business like a real touchable, relatable thing. And without that, it's just noise, because I mean, Dylan and I know more than anybody, our industry is super saturated. I mean, you could throw a stone and hit 20 lenders and realtors, like they're everywhere. And with that being said, you know what I mean? Like you have to stand out at that on the authenticity, because if you don't, then it isn't going to convert. It's just going to be more noise. Like, oh yeah, I saw that realtor's post or whatever. And one thing I want to point out, because it happens a lot in my industry specifically, I do not know why, but be very cautious of making content where it falls on deaf ears. Basically, you're making content like kind of almost insulting the people that are doing the thing. So I had a friend and I said, hey, do you want some constructive feedback? He's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you made that post the other day about customers, not sending in every page of the bank statement. And it was like a joke. The customers don't understand that. They don't know why that's funny, right? It's landing on deaf ears. Like, and in fact, if they do understand it a little bit, you're like kind of insulting them. And so that's never a good look when it comes to creating content, right?
Yeah. And the only ones that truly understand that are the people that are in that same industry. So it really didn't resonate with you wanted to try to get that out too. So
it went back to Dylan's point about being relatable, right?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of funny that the different platforms have a little bit different kind of vibes to them. Like TikTok is very, you see what you get. They're very, they're like an open book, right? Facebook and Instagram, it's kind of now there's different avenues of it, but it's kind of like, hey, look what I did, or look what I have, right? TikTok, you get a little bit more into the behind the scenes look, and there's a little bit more authenticness in that. So,
well, and that's a very good point, because I think, especially as a small business owner, it can be very overwhelming thinking about creating different content for different spaces. I know I'm guilty of that. Like I don't always maybe pick and choose and think strategically. But to our point, if the ultimate goal in the end game is that you're trying to connect and you're trying to create revenue, not just likes and followers, right? Like you actually want to convert people, then you do have to think a little bit through that and be a little bit more strategic, right?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, very true. I feel like social media or any kind of digital channel is really a springboard for me to meet with people in person. So is my content on every platform engaging enough for that particular audience to warrant an in-person call or a meetup? Or are they engaged enough that they're like, hey, that's a really interesting person. I'd like to get to know her more. But to your point, each platform is very different. And a lot of times we will spread ourselves thin by trying to do all of them. And then the quality suffers instead of focusing in on like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram only. Are you really going to get a lot from TikTok? Or are you really going to get a lot from Facebook? And I think that is dependent on who you are and what you're offering.
Mhm.
Well, and I'll talk a little bit about something that will get Lyndon excited, which is metrics. So I don't know those of you who have converted your Facebook pages, like your personal Facebook pages, into creator profiles, and or a lot of your other platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and some of these will allow for it anyways, YouTube, right? And I think a lot of times people are not looking at those metrics, right? Obviously, conversions is going to be the indication that you are succeeding at content, but before you get all the way there, we need to be looking at the back end, right? Like, how many people are actually viewing our things? What is the demographics of that looking like, right? Like, I know exactly who watches me, right? What do I attract? Because sometimes our that'll change your positioning a little bit, right? On how you're delivering that message. Because to our earlier conversation, we are trying to connect with them. The content is being made for that individual, group of people. It's not being made for us.
Right. Yeah, I've definitely learned from back-end metrics on social as well as website. I cannot stress the importance enough of looking at that regularly and figuring out, what zip codes, geographic area, demographics, how much traffic are you actually getting on certain content? Is it worth continuing to put certain content out? Or is it falling on deaf ears? People don't really care. They're bored, whatever it might be. It really does inform your strategy around that. And if you aren't looking at data and metrics, you need to.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers don't lie, right? Like they just don't lie. And I mean, working not only for yourself, Kathryn, but also working for a major organization. I mean, I guarantee you Citibank is all up in the data.
Yes.
They want to understand every single bit.
Right. Absolutely.
And small business owners, we miss the boat sometimes on this, right? Because we're being pulled in so many different directions that it can be really challenging.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Harvey?
Well, I agree. Kathryn mentioned something earlier that's just sticking with my mind. She was talking about the different platforms and different industries do better on different platforms. And I think as a business owner of my own, myself, I really gravitated towards Facebook, and the reason being because I was comfortable with Facebook. And I think being a business business such as myself, I'm a commercial cleaner, and so I'm really trying to get in front of other business owners. I need to learn how to be more strategic in the LinkedIn side of it. And so, but it's hard for me when I'm not comfortable with LinkedIn. And so I think it's valuable, and I think our audience needs to understand that a lot of times we have got to challenge ourselves to learn something new and take the time to actually plug into those social platforms that we may not be so comfortable with, but will actually benefit us more if we do the research, and it doesn't hurt to play around with it. Honestly, guys, we don't learn unless we start doing the things, and then we learn from that, which then in turn comes down to the matrix side of it and doing all the measures. So, but I would encourage everybody to really stop and think about that, and educate yourself in those platforms that will benefit you more over the other.
At least give it a shot. Like you said, you get pulled in all these different directions, and you want to be on every platform. But if you're, honing in on 2 or 3 of them that you're doing really well on, and maybe not so well on another, but, most of your business is coming from these 2 or 3 spots, really hone in on those and learn that and be a professional on those platforms is something that, is crucial.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that as a small business owner, because we don't have the resources that a large entity has, we do have to be a lot more strategic in our decision making, right? And it is very exhausting, especially to be consistent, and consistency is really important with content, is to be able to be everywhere all at once, right? Because the truth is that unless you are literally just copy pasting and putting all the content in the same exact place, it's not going to like you literally will run yourself ragged, right? Trying to be everywhere.
Yes.
And so we'll kind of put a pin in this and we'll move on to the what's the difference segment. Does anybody have any couple last thoughts before we move on?
think
Great
we covered
combo.
That was good.
I was gonna say it was a really great conversation, guys. I mean, I could do this all day, talk about
Yes.
content and ideas and thoughts. So, all right, so we're gonna go into the what's the difference segment. So, Cindy.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
Okay, guys. So as we come into the what's the difference segment, this is going to be just like a quick little around the horn. I'm going to ask the question. I'll ask a different question to each of you. And you're just going to tell me what's the difference. We don't need some long drawn out diatribe, just quick to the point. What's the difference? And then I'm going to tell you what the Webster's dictionary version is. So Kathryn, not to put you on the spot, we will start with you. So what's the difference between posting and publishing?
Oh, wow. Okay. Posting, I feel like, is quicker, and publishing is a little more thought provoking. Like when you're publishing, you're really thinking about what you're going to put out there, and posting is like more quick, kind of fly by the seat of your pants.
I think I think you pretty much nailed it. Posting is random visibility, right? Whereas publishing is more like strategic positioning. So posting is like, here's a tip, and publishing is like, here's a message you associate with my name, with me, right? So something like that or whatever. All right, Dylan, you're up next on the hot seat. So what's the difference between engagement and conversion?
So engagement is visible attention, right? So likes and comments. I think conversation is invisible action, right? DMs, emails, phone calls, texts, problem solving, that you're having that kind of one-on-one, conversation, obviously, right? So
I think you pretty much nailed it too, right? So engagement is that it's the attention. It's like the actual, you see all, like you said, you see all the likes, etc. And then conversion, that's like the actual action, right? They're actually coming offline, DMing you, scheduling a meeting, whatever your call to action is exactly that. Okay, Harvey, you're up next. What's the difference between being real and being relevant?
Well, to me, being real is like basically just telling the truth about the experience. I mean, an example would I'm exhausted from running this business. That's being real. And then being relevant is sharing those experiences in a way that serves the person listening to that. And to me, a good example of that would be if you're a business owner and you're running on fumes. Here's how I'm learning to protect my energy with dropping the ball. So there's a huge difference there in how you look at that.
No, I totally agree. And yes, I think being real is more about you, like you were saying, right? Your story, and being relevant is a lot more about the listener, the who's watching it, who's seeing it, right? And so I think you guys are nailing them. All right, so let's go into the next one. Kathryn, you're up again.
All right.
What's the difference? What'd you say?
I said, okay, I'm ready.
Okay. What's the difference between authority and approachability?
Okay. So instantly I think of authority as someone who's an expert, someone who has a lot of knowledge, but that doesn't mean that they are approachable. Approachable means that you really make an effort to connect with someone while you may be an expert or knowledgeable, so that there are two different ways of looking at it. So
yeah, absolutely. I think the best content typically has both, right? You have authority and approachability.
I think there's a fine line in that too. Like too much authority, you kind of intimidate people. Too much approachability, you feel like you're everyone's best buddy and no one hires you, right? So there's a fine line of being on both sides of those. So
very true.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And so yes, I think authority, you're building that trust. You do have that level of expertise. People want to listen to you and trust you. And then approachability, it's definitely a little bit more about creating connections, right? Getting them to actually maybe want to engage in a little bit deeper level, things like that, et cetera. So I definitely agree with that. And okay, Dylan, so what's the difference between showing up and being remembered?
Yeah, so kind of in content creation, showing up is you're posting frequently. You post daily. And then being remembered means your content has a little bit more of a, impression on your your, consumer, right? So just being remembered, for, maybe you give an example of 3 different things to think about when you're looking to buy a house, and be relatable in those 3 things you're posting, right? So, it's just kind of, I'd rather be being remembered for that niche in your market is definitely something, better than just showing up, right? Just going through the motions.
Oh, no, I completely agree. All right, Harvey, I'm going to ask you the same question before I give you the official Webster's Dictionary answer.
Well, I think showing up, if you stop and think about it, you don't need more noise. I mean, basically, it's showing up as being consistent, and being remembered is that impact. Okay, and so you need more moments that actually matter, if you will. So I'm just like Dylan. I would prefer someone to remember me from that aspect of it than just showing up and being consistent. So.
Mm-hmm. And you don't need to post every single day. It's you want to post quality stuff. So if you post twice a week, let it be. Those 2 posts, every week could go a lot further than posting once every day that, someone just scrolls right by it, right? So
I guess the way that I always think about showing up is, have you guys ever been to the networking events? And yes, there's certain people who show up all the time and but they're not really engaging. There's not anything that you really remember about that. You know what I mean? And so great, they're showing up, they're in the room, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're creating any level of influence or impact or anything like that. Right. And so I personally think that is the biggest difference between showing up and being remembered. Because to your point, Dylan, yeah, I mean, you can post content, but if it's falling on deaf ears, if it's not landing, if you're not getting any conversions, if you're not pulling in, the actual business, then who is that for? Like, is it just for yourself? Is it for your kids or your parents, whoever's liking your post, right? Like, what is that looking like? And I think we all go through periods of time where we have to tweak our content, right? Work through that. And so I've really loved this conversation about content, because I do think it's such a relevant conversation in today's world, and especially to Kathryn's point, because there is so much noise, and with the uptick of AI, it's only going to get worse. And so our ability as small business owners to stand out, to show authority and influence, right, and allow people to really see who we are, what we stand for, and give valuable information out is really going to set us apart from another business owner that is in our space. Because as the world shrinks due to this availability, right, of information, the competition becomes fierce. It's not the same like it used to be, where it's proximity. It was literally whoever was physically closest to you. Now it's not that way, right? Especially with people where you can do business online. There's so many different options here.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
So many different options here. Well, I think we are pretty much ready to go to commercial break. And then on the other side of this, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Kathryn and Dylan and kind of find out, why did they even pick these careers in the first place? Like, how do we end up here? And what's kind of driving the bus here? So, Lennon, if you'll send us a commercial break, we will see you on the other side and learn a little bit more about these amazing business owners that we've been talking to this whole time.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
All right, and welcome back. And just like that little commercial, says, we really aim to be difference makers. We look to really elevate business owners and understand, elevate our community, help everybody kind of connect. And here with us, we've got two amazing business owners. In this case, Dylan, we're going to kind of go ladies first for a couple questions. So tell us, Kathryn, kind of, why the creative side? Obviously you like the art kind of aspects and those pieces. So what drove that bus?
Yeah. So my background is in user experience and marketing, technology, and art. And so to me, I am my own brand. My name, who I am is my brand. So whether it's in the professional space, whether it's at Citibank, or the personal space, whether I, as an artist or working on the board of arts organizations, in the DFW area, my goal is to build inclusive spaces, no matter where I am, for art, design, and community to thrive. So that's really my purpose and my mission, I guess you would say, in life, within different channels. And I love that. I'm super passionate about it. My goal is to bring visibility and awareness across all these different channels and connecting others and supporting people and mentoring and encouraging people to go out on their own and be the best that they can be.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. It's so interesting to learn a little bit more about what kind of drives people and what kind of makes them tick. And it's always lovely to hear that people really are going with their mission, like what drives them, because so many, get stuck in jobs for other reasons. Wow. And so I love to hear that. And Dylan, the same question to you, like why real estate? Why do we go down this path? Like why do we end up here?
Yeah. So I'm a huge people person. When I lived in South Florida for a while, I was a concierge at a private island. I'd, tend to people's needs. And, I loved kind of the aspect of making or helping people make their big, meaningful decisions. Right. So in picking a place to live, there's not really much bigger of a choice. Right. So just educating and being a people person. Yes. You obviously help people, buy houses or sell houses. But at the end of the day, I don't just stop there. I'm not a transactional realtor. I want to be, hey, I need a fence built. I need, a concrete patio or need a roof, a house cleaner. I just want to be that kind of resource for that person, a people pleaser, and, help them out, whether it's, they could close, a house 3-4 years ago and then, reach out to me, next week that, hey, I'm putting up a fence. Who do I call? I want to be that resource for them. And what better way to get into real estate? So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that. And Kathryn, you mentioned like kind of, and I think it's very interesting, sort of the intersect of like art and technology and things like that. And I think for kind of what you do in your space, that's a little bit of a different bent, right? Because a lot of times you don't always see those two intersect. So how did you sort of make the decision that you wanted to go from more of like the art piece, to that?
I really do believe that so many things are interconnected that you can bridge those two different things. So for me, like technology and art, I'm a very hands-on artist, grew up like that, but at the same time, I do enjoy technology in achieving my artistic goals. So I find that there is motivation for me to learn about technology and learn about the things that are out there in order to be the vehicle to really deliver what I'm passionate about, which is art and creativity and community and helping others.
Yeah. Well, that's really awesome because I do feel like so often people get really stuck kind of in their need, you know what I mean? And they don't see that intersect. And I think that's really powerful when some of that stuff does intersect, right? And makes you a much more unique individual and business owner because of it.
And I think for business owners or entrepreneurs or just individuals, if you are willing to be open to learning something new continually throughout your life, you will open up new doors of opportunity.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And I try to be Dylan Labonte, the person first before Dylan Labonte, the realtor.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the industry are kind of have those roles reversed, and I'm in a few networking groups with Harvey, and I try to provide a value and be a person and friend first, and help other businesses grow, and then I know it's going to come in on full turn. So.
Well, you just mentioned Dylan, and I'm glad you did, because you mentioned earlier that you moved from Maine to Rockwall without having any friends, no family, no nothing here. You hadn't even left your house. And so tell us a little bit about that. And I want to know, how did you get plugged in as a real estate agent once you got here?
Yeah, so I moved here from Maine during COVID. My wife was just finished up dental school. We wanted to get away from the snow and such, and started sending out resumes to places in Florida and Texas. Ultimately, it was a better decision to move to Texas. I felt like I brought the snow with the Snowmageddon thing that came a few months later.
Oh, that was your fault. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. All
the
neighbors were saying that. So, but no, I kind of just got plugged in. I was in real estate in Maine as well. So just transferred my license. But I joined a few networking groups, got involved with the chamber. It honestly was not to get leads. I was never the guy that, hey, who do you know that needs to buy or sell any houses? I was never that guy. I just wanted to get to a place. Like I said, I didn't know anyone here. Hadn't even been to Dallas at all before buying a house from our couch up in Maine. And, just wanted to know people and have friends, right? I didn't want to move somewhere and not have any friends. And I think it's come in full turn here. And, I feel like I know handfuls and handfuls of people when we go to community events and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, I love that. Kathryn, have you always lived here in the DFW area?
I have not. It's actually kind of funny that Dylan talked about moving during COVID or around that time. I originally grew up in Tennessee and moved in 2019 for a job at Topgolf headquarters in 2019, right before COVID. So I worked a year in office and then COVID hit. And it was actually very difficult for me that I did not get a chance to really get out into the community and meet people and network. And so I ended up doing a lot of Zoom calls, like through people on LinkedIn, just to get to know people, like for a couple of months. And then as COVID kind of ramped down, I was able to get back out and reconnect with people that I had already talked to digitally. So it was kind of an interesting experiment, but yeah, I love Texas, love being here, and have really enjoyed the community aspect of it and how there are so many different people here. So yes, definitely have enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I definitely think, I am more or less native Texan. I was born in Tulsa, but otherwise I've lived here. And so I love hearing people people coming, and I always joke, I'm like, please come, bring all your food, okay? Because I want to eat whatever.
Food is good.
Whatever food you've got, I need you to bring it here, please. So we can eat all the great food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we really do. We're super blessed. And I don't think I could ever leave Texas, guys, because I mean, Tex-Mex and barbecue, like I don't really think you get those many other places in the US.
Great.
I can get Maine lobster shipped in next day aired, so get from the boat.
Exactly.
And I have before. We've had some lobster bakes.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
So, come into a backyard near you, some lobster bakes.
All right. Yeah, we're looking forward to that invite, Dylan, okay? Because you know that sounds great. Maine was the very first state that I ever visited that it was so odd. Like they literally serve lobster in like a shack. Like I literally ate lobster in like I think it was like a single wide mobile
hole
home.
in the wall. Sure.
Hole in the wall. That's usually the best food.
Yep.
It is, but it's very, very odd. And so, you know what I mean? Like, 'cause like, especially in Texas, you think of lobster as like fine dining.
Right.
And when you're going to eat lobster in a shack. So I can appreciate that lobster bakes and things like that. That's a thing for you.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Funny.
Okay, so what's the number one passion not involving business? I mean, it seems like Kathryn, you're pretty like those are all really connected. But what's the number one passion each of you have? I want to know. Whichever one of you wants to go first.
Ladies first.
You know me, art, anything having to do with art. People that like art or appreciate art, going to events that promote the arts, everything art related. That's my thing.
Sure.
Gotcha. What about you, Dylan?
So mine's sports. I'm big into hockey. Like I said, I play hockey in Plano, McKinney, Allen. So I try to, be involved in anything sports related. And, that's something that, is a pretty big part of my life.
I love that. Okay, well, let's wrap us up really quickly. So start with Kathryn. Take about 30 seconds and tell us who you are and where we can find you. And then Dylan, on to you.
Oh, sure. Well, again, Kathryn Ikle. You can find me anywhere on the internet. If you type in my name, Instagram, LinkedIn, I have a website, KathrynIkle.com. Love doing collaborations with people. So I would invite you to reach out to me and let's get together. And if you have any questions, you can find my information. I'm sure Jax can share that. And it's been great being on the show. Thank you so much.
Dylan, what about you?
Awesome. Dylan Labonte. You can literally just Google my name. I'm on all the platforms, Facebooks, Instagrams, all the above. I do have a dad/family TikTok on the TikTok app. So I had a few videos go viral of some milk on my glasses, the whole nine. But that's more of the fun side of Dylan, not the business side. So just Google me.
All right. I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. And thank you so much to our audience for watching the show. Harvey, for being my partner in crime on the show. And so we can't wait to dive more into this topic next week. And so come back and see us and have a great week.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, Jacqueline Crider with Financial Mastery Simplified, Susanna Austin with K9 Resorts, Audra Hooper with Audra Hooper Integrated Health, Cindy Durance with Right at Home, In-Home Care and Assistance, and by Kirk Hodgson with Assured Partners. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference.